an easement. But that would also allow the city and all other agencies, and service providers to have, to run lines just about anywhere on the site outside of the building and 5 feet from it. I would imagine they would need some connection to the building. Maybe Jessica can go into more detail than that. But before you tonight is a record plat, which again is needed so they can close on this property. And it's my understanding that once they close, they will move forward with their improvement plans. And then the second sheet on there shows the proposed easement. I might add that they're also providing, as required as a condition of the area plan, they've got a 25-foot cross-access drive that connects the existing workforce apartments that are there now. The technology drive goes right through the development. So there'll be some nice cross-access between the two developments.
Okay.
So we're looking for a motion to recommend approval with conditions of the record plat to the board, and then the board will have final consideration at their next meeting.
Jessica, I got a couple questions. One is looking at these two sheets.
Mm-hmm.
They're dated 6/26/2025, but it shows revisions of 7/23/25 and 7/28/25.
That is correct.
So
The-
why does it still have a date of 6/26?
Usually we leave that on there until we print the plat for final signatures, and then we'll change it to the day the plat's printed. And that it was the day that the drawing was started.
Okay. There were two other questions I had. Under and this was on sheet 1.
Mhm.
Titles commitment notes, number 29. It talks about declaration of land use restriction covenants for low-income house tax credits. What is this referencing? Because we were told that this was market rate apartments.
Yes, they will be market rate apartments, and the developers' discussions with HUD, they are working on filing documentation to remove this property from that tax credit.
The whole property or just the?
Not the whole property, just the property that they're purchasing. The rest of the apartments will stay in that agreement.
Okay.
They're still working. I mean, they've got all their agreements in place. They just haven't gotten them all signed and recorded yet. But that will remove this property, and it will not be under HUD housing. It will be its own marketable.
So will this note go away?
Yes. Once that's recorded, then we'll reference that new document saying that this property isn't affected by it.
Now, my final question is I'm understanding what Todd's saying and what you're saying is that this owner
Mhm.
is purchasing a portion of the detention basin, that piece of property.
Correct.
But there is no physical barrier in between the two to say that, this half is HUD and this half is mine. They're leaving it all as one big detention basin, correct?
No. The line that is separating the two common grounds is on this plat. So there's the original common ground that's going to be left for HUD with their basin on it. And then there's going to be our common ground A with our basin in it.
Now I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be two separate.
Common ground areas, the one under the HUD housing and the one under our apartment
Okay.
complex.
Is that going to work?
I am. As far as I know, they have started working on the improvement plans. I don't know if they are complete yet, but I can find that out. It's gonna be two separate parcels, each with their own basin on it.
So what's the width between the two?
That's really not
Okay? I do not know what the width between the two is. All I know is that they're doing the two different separate basins. Width-wise, I don't know what's between them. That's something I can find out and get back with you guys on, but right, okay. Correct.
got to.
No, I know they've started them. No, nothing's been established yet.
Certainly not signed it.
There is no public improvement. It's all, it's gonna be private roads. The cross access is a private road. Of course, they'll do an escrow for their landscaping, in conjunction with the, improvement plans. And then they'll do escrows with the other agencies, sewer, water. But what we've done is we've given them the application and, the escrows for the detention. They'll have to escrow the SWIP and the detention, but they'll do that once their, improvement plans are under review. And so the signature for the plat would be signed by the city engineer, the mayor, and the city clerk. And right now, there's no escrows for the streets, or sidewalks. There's no
But
public
they
improvement.
won't sign until they're finished. Is that correct?
It sounds like that would be the proper way to do it. But they do need to, yeah, I would say that could be a condition of their approval, is that they have to, before they sign it, have them, have the improvement plans approved. That way we know that the detention basin will fit. I would imagine its slopes are gonna be probably vertical. I want to probably put gates around it, fences. But, I would accept that, is that a condition of approval is that the improvement plans are approved and any necessary escrows are executed before final signature. Wording.
And that's required by code. But the improvement plans and the escrows have to be in place. That says before the record plat is approved. Doesn't say by whom. I think it's reasonable to say before it's recorded and signed off by the city. But to Todd's point, I would put that as a condition. If you're inclined to recommend approval, I would put as a condition that the guarantees, technically is the term used in the code, so the guarantees and the improvement plans must be submitted and approved prior to signing and recording of the record plat.
One last question.
Sure.
If you're splitting these in two, your client over here is taking care of his half. Who's doing the improvement on the original half over here? That, I mean, is it going to be dug out and changed also?
As far as my understanding is yes, they will modify that basin to make it its own unit, and then our basin will be constructed.
Is your client going to do that work? Or do you know?
I do not know for sure. As far as I know, they will be, because I think that's a condition of their sale on purchasing the part of the common ground, but I cannot answer that for certain.
Have you gotten anything
No,
for
I-
that property?
Like, that will definitely be shown on the improvement plans on how they plan to do it, but originally. the
But you got two
detention basin-
separate owners now.
Right, well, the detention basin was installed, to basically provide detention for this whole development.
Right.
They thought it was gonna be under one ownership. And so, again, perhaps a condition of approval would be that the detention basin for the existing apartments is to code and to our specs. So that they're not out of compliance as well.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Dale?
That's the one that's. We asked Todd. How the basin is gonna be.
Right. And the best way to explain some of this, why they're pushing the plat, is because they can't close on the property. And so, creation of the improvement plans are very costly, so they're just trying to get closer to getting closing of the property. So that's why the plat's on the agenda.
Okay. Rich, you got anything else? Pam? You have anything? David, Berg? Okay, then I need a motion. If you're so inclined for recommending approval to the Board of Aldermen, with any conditions.
Essence, it almost turns whole property into.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah. So that's
except for where the building sits and 5 feet around each building. All right, I'll try to make this motion and hopefully I'll cover everything. If not, tell me. Make a motion to recommend approval to the Board of Aldermen for this record plat dated 6/26/2025 with any new date that comes out after everything's been done. That the appropriate escrows and all signatures be obtained before the improvement plans are approved,
No,
or just,
No, the improvement
or
plans-
before the record plan is signed.
Yeah, improvement plans approved prior to
Okay.
final recording of the
All right,
record plat.
and,
Detention basin on the adjacent apartments is brought to our specs.
right,
They're gonna modify.
well, right, it's gonna have to be modified, I would think, because they're cutting it off. So to meet their requirement for stormwater detention, it would have to be deeper, I would think.
Water problem.
Okay. All right. So that's the motion. Do I have a second? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So that'll go to the Board of Aldermen next week?
Yep.
Okay. Write that motion out
I did.
and then send it to Drew so that he
Okay.
knows that we've got everything. Oh, you got it?
I took notes of the motion.
He's here. Jim's here. If you need,
All right.
to let me know. I've got it
Okay,
too.
all right.
All right.
And we're, Tim did successfully set up Zoom, so we're being recorded.
All right. The last item on our agenda is under old business. And it has to do with the moratorium on the acceptance and review and approvals of multifamily dwellings. And as we mentioned, or I mentioned at the last meeting about this coming into play. And since then, Drew has graciously prepared what I thought was an excellent schedule and everything for us to kind of guide us through the process and to get us started. And I'll let Drew kind of say his spiel. And
I don't want to take too much credit. It was mostly John Young. I'll give credit where credit's due. But
why? He takes your credit all the
Well,
time.
probably. So, the schedule for the moratorium is divided into 4 different phases, and it's there in your packet. I'm just going to briefly touch on them, but I'll be happy to answer questions as they come up. The first phase is the study phase, the commission study. That's September to November. So the idea is to have a public hearing at the October meeting and then followed up in November, December by outreach to various agencies, stakeholders, think schools, traffic, public safety, ambulance district, that kind of thing. The idea at all those meetings is to obtain more facts to help form a basis for the decisions to be made in following months. So after that study phase is done, you then have phase 2. The goal would be to address that in January and February, comprehensive plan review and possible amendment. So after we have listened to the residents and the stakeholders and taken the facts, then it'd be time to look at the comprehensive plan and see what kind of changes would need to be made. Phase 3 is then amendments to the zoning code. So after we have done the study, talked about updates to the comprehensive plan, then look at the zoning code, see what needs to be updated or amended or added to in order to accomplish those goals. And then after those recommendations are made in the March and April timeframe, the goal is to have the Board of Aldermen review and approve by May and June, because the moratorium will expire in July of 2026. So that's our 12-month 4-phase plan. I talked with the chairman before this meeting. It's important that people attend as many of these things as possible. I don't know that we have an exact set meeting schedule, and there may be additional meetings that have to get thrown in, but attend as many as possible because obviously it's going to be an important process to participate.
Thanks, Drew. I would add that such things as agency outreach, education, schools, and all that under 1B, that Todd and I believe Kathy are working on a questionnaire kind of thing to send to the appropriate agencies and so forth with a series of questions that will help guide some responses and so forth. So it's not necessarily where they have to attend a public meeting and so forth. And actually, I think we may end up getting better responses than if we have them all try to show up at a public meeting. It's not going to work. But so they're going to be handling that. I think the real work after that will be the phase 2, looking at the comprehensive plan, and phase 3, the zoning regulations. Because as we have talked in the past, there are some things in the zoning code that kind of have led us to this path that, a few changes may get us to the goal that we want. So, and as Drew said, time is somewhat of an issue here. So we'll try to keep it as part of the regular meeting, but it could be that we have to have a separate meeting just to discuss this. Yes.
So, yeah, just in here when I look through it, but in what part of this, do we collect information on the number of available housing units by type, both current and planned within the broader area? Like I see it, mentioned about looking at the,
I've already started.
That's already been started.
Yeah, I'll be able to, that's part of the discovery, but I'll have a breakdown of all the apartment or multifamily, developments that are, existing, occupied, which ones are planned. And we'll also have an exercise where we can look at look at the zoning map or map of the city and identify areas that potentially support new development. We'll go through that. But on the onset, I just want to point out the importance of, the public hearing in September. We've decided not to necessarily have an agenda, just open it up to the public. We're not going to go to the different wards. We'll just have one big meeting and just let folks come up and let us know their wishes and worries when it comes to multifamily. Kathy and I will put together like a public relations piece just to raise a little bit of awareness of what we're trying to do. But really in September, we're just looking to have a listening session, and that will help kind of provide some focus as to what additional information we'll need to gather. But I'll look at other municipalities and see what percentage of their housing is dedicated to multifamilies, just so we can have some comparisons. Yeah,
because I know that is one of the questions. That often, well, it's not just Garden Prairie, but Peters or Lake St. Louis and some of their planned developments.
yeah, I'll be gathering that for everyone.
Okay.
All right, any other comments or anything?
I do have a question. It's more very basic question regarding how are we defining, or is there a legal definition of single family versus?
Yeah, the moratorium includes anything 3 units or more. So a villa attached, villa to family attached, or 2 single families attached, that does not, it's not impacted by the moratorium. So that Stillwater, Grove, they are proposing 14 single family attached units. So that did not get blocked by the moratorium, but anything like
So,
a triplex or more.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, because my question based on like, okay, if it's a single family and it's attached, but if you got 3 of them in a row, that's multi-family.
That's multifamily.
Right.
So it's 2.
Anything more than 2 units.
By 3 in a row, you mean 3 attached together.
Yeah,
Not 3.
3 units sharing 2 walls.
Right.
1, 2.
That's multifamily,
Multifamily.
according to our
Non-division, right?
Okay. That's, so is that a widely accepted definition of it, or is that just a Garden Prairie?
3 to 4, I think is what I commonly see. One of our cities is 5, but I mean, there's not like a state statutory definition,
Okay.
but 3 and 4 is kind of common, I think. Maybe 5, 3, 4, 5
That would all be.
for single family attached. Right.
Okay, any other comments? Now, with that being said, I need a motion to adjourn. Okay, moved by Dale and seconded by Dave. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're finished until September 10th. We'll see everybody then. And we should have a fairly robust meeting, I think, between the public hearing on South Outer Road